Hello, everyone. It's time for Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanas. This is episode 227, season 10. Today's date is June 10th, 2023, and welcome to the show. On today's program, I will talk about Nelson Brothers Furniture Stores and my memories of that place. And also, I will talk about the 75th anniversary of the debut of the TV variety show Texaco Star Theater. It has a connection with Chicago, so I'll explain that later. By the way, also, like I mentioned before, this is episode 227, so I'm not going to talk about the TV show that starred Marla Gibbs way back in the 80s. I used to watch that show right after Golden Girls, like that. And yeah, it was the lineup. You had the Golden Girls, 227, and Hunter. Remember that lineup? Yeah, I think Facts of Life was moved from Saturdays. So it didn't do well. Anyway, so yeah, it was great times. It was like the NBC Thursday lineup. Like, remember Cosby Show, Family Ties, Cheers, Night Court, and of course Hill Street Blues, and then LA Law, like that. That was wonderful. Okay, before I get started with the program will go into a commercial break. And this program is brought to you by High C Lemonade Drink Mix. And here's a commercial from 1978. And if you listen to the little boy, you would recognize him. If you don't, I will tell you who it was. Okay? So sit back and relax, and I'll be right back. Thank you, everyone.
Mommy, I'm thirsty.
Hello. We'd like your family to taste lemonade flavor High C drink mix.
Who are you?
Oh, boy.
That sure looks tasty.
Oh, boy. Come on, Mom. I'm thirsty.
This tastes like homemade lemonade. It's the delicious taste of High C in a powder.
Bye-bye. Gee, thanks, mister.
High C, you know how good it is.
We're so done with New Year, New You. This year, it's more you on Bumble. More of you shamelessly sending playlists, especially that one filled with show tunes. More of you finding Geminis because you know you always like them. More of you dating with intention because you know what you want. And you know what? We love that for you. Someone else will too. Be more you this year and find them on Bumble.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for High C Lemonade Drink Mix. The product's still around. Do you remember in the old days, they used to come in big cans? And I remember my mother bringing them from the grocery stores. You know, they were heavy, and you take a can opener or, like a bottle opener or something like that, and you would pour like that. I think they've done away with that. So now it's juice boxes, drink mix, like that. I haven't had High C drink in a long time. The little boy that's in the commercial, that's none other than actor Corey Feldman. You remember him from a lot of movies and television, and he was everywhere. He started his career like in the late 70s. He's still acting to this day. Not much. You don't see him, but he was all over. He really was, and he always paired with Corey Haim, who was a friend of his. Unfortunately, he passed away a long time ago. So you probably saw him. I think I remember one commercial he did was for McDonald's gift certificates. Remember those? Yeah. So you can find it on YouTube. Also, find this commercial that I just played. Also, you would find that there. Okay. All right. At the beginning of the program, I said I was going to talk about the Nelson Brothers Furniture Stores in Chicago and also the 75th anniversary of Texaco Star Theater. That's the variety show that starred Milton Berle. Explain the history of that. And it has a Chicago connection. If you don't understand, fine. If you don't, that's okay. And before I get started, I want to mention one thing. I've been resuming my walking. Yeah, I have. I've beaten the fatigue. I still get tired. I really do, but I've been walking. I didn't walk yesterday. Something came up, and but once I walk, I feel good, very relaxed, and I sleep better. And I just don't want to get out of bed. That's how I feel like that. I guess it's the combination of the pills I take, the Xtandi for my, for the prostate cancer, that's that. And so I've been walking, I did my 60 laps. I posted a video the other day. I told people I'm tired like that, but I managed to do so. I managed to, to finish those 60 laps. That's how much I could do less. I could do more, but that's my goal. That's my goal to do that. Sometimes I do it after dinner or in the afternoon. Depends on the weather. If it's too hot, very, very hot, I would not go in the afternoon. I'll go at night when the sun sets and it's nice, But there were a couple of days that was like in the 70s and it was perfect, But the sun was hot, but it was breezy, so it's okay. Someone emailed also says, "Why do you do this on your driveway? Why don't you go to a park or to the mall?" I used to go to the mall, but I don't know. I have no energy to go for some reason. I can't go during the day because it's crowded. I have to go in the morning, but I have things to do. And I could go to the park or around my neighborhood. I could go walk around the block, but sometimes when I see a dog or, if there's a dog behind a fence or there's someone walking, it makes me nervous. I have nothing against animals. I love animals, but I don't know. When I was about 5 years old, I was bitten by a dog and it was traumatic. And every time I think about it, I get a little anxiety like that. And if the pets are small and tame and cuddly, I'm okay with that. Like cats. I'm okay with that. But if it's a big dog or they growl or bark loudly, no. Even little dogs that bark like that. So it's that's why I don't own a dog. I nothing against people. If they want to own a dog, that's fine. But but that's my reason like that. So it's fear. I know I have to combat the fear. I know I have to do that, but I haven't. I tried, but I can't own a dog. So that's a shame. That's the way it is. So as for the walking, I will continue. I will do my best. Hopefully, I'll lose weight. I hope to get way less than 200 pounds. I'm over 200, but I'm not like what I was before, way back, like in 2020 or 2019 or 20. I weighed like 243, 244. Now I'm down to like 210, like that. So I lost weight. I really have. So I accomplished that. That's good. Hopefully, I'll get more. I will do more. Okay, so let's get started with the show. Okay. I will talk about Nelson Brothers furniture store. I think I talked about this particular store in another podcast episode, probably about a year or two ago. But someone sent me an email and then said, "Why don't you talk about it again? And broaden it a little bit." And I said, "Okay, why don't we do that?" Because in the early days of my podcast, I used to take like 3 subjects and short, and they were short. Just for time, because it was new to me with the podcast. So I didn't know how to do it. Plus, with the computer and all that, now I know how to do it. I can stop and then resume, then stop and resume. you get the picture. So I'll talk about Nelson Brothers Furniture Store. Okay, here we go. So that was founded by a man. His name was, I have his name right here. His name is Herman Blinder. And it was called the Nelson Brothers Furniture Corporation. And his son ran it. His name was Abe Blinder. He was chairman of the board, like that. And the furniture company, the first store was located at 6310 Broadway, right up in the Rogers Park neighborhood. And the sign read, according to the Chicago Tribune, the sign read Nelson Brothers Moving and Storage. Okay, so that's what they did. And then they added a warehouse. It was first located at 6910 South Cottage Grove Avenue in the Woodlawn area. And then they acquired the assets of a furniture company called the Alexander H. Revell Furniture Company. And then they continued to expand all throughout the years like that. And then they opened some more stores in Chicago and about 2 more in Milwaukee, which I've heard they did, but because I found a commercial on YouTube that had Milwaukee addresses. That was quite interesting, like that. And so it was best known for their jingle, Nelson Brothers loves me, Nelson Brothers loves me, Nelson Brothers loves me, and they love you too. A terrible singer. Anyway, also the company offered easy obtain credit. That's what it was famous for. Credit power. That was shown on the commercials on TV. It sold sometimes rooms of furniture, also individual pieces at stores. If you want to buy a lamp, you want to buy an end table, or just a bed, or a chair, go ahead. You could do that. And then, but Mr. Blinder, they were not born in Chicago. They were born in Milwaukee. So I don't know how that happened like that. And so we all know from the commercials. So we used to watch them during the 70s and 80s and 90s. I don't know about the 60s, maybe. I don't remember. I was too young. But I think they played them on radio too, like that, probably WGN or WMAQ at the time, I guess. So I don't know. So anyway, right now I'm going to play a commercial from Nelson Brothers. You can sit back and relax and enjoy it. When I come back, I'll talk a little bit about the locations and the announcer of those commercials. Okay. So here we go. Thank you, everyone.
Nelson loves me, Nelson loves me, Nelson Brothers love me. Furniture for you, always something new. Nelson Brothers love me, and they'll love you too.
With your Nelson Brothers credit power, enjoy life now. Admire the 17-piece Paramount Living Room Group. Everything from rugs on the floor to pictures on the wall. A world of rooms priced the warehouse savings way. From $588 down to $244. Yes, you have credit power at Nelson Brothers South. Halstead near 65th. Cottage Grove near 63rd. 9605 South Cicero Avenue. Nelson Brothers North, Broadway near Lawrence. Lincoln Avenue near Belmont. 1751 North Harlem. Nelson's Warehouse Sales, 2750 West Grand Avenue. Open Monday and Thursday until 9 at night, Sunday 10 until 5.
Nelson Brothers love me, and they'll love you too.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Nelson Brothers. At the end of the jingle, they said, Nelson Brothers loves me, and they'll love you too. Also, they mentioned credit power. Excuse me. So they did that. The announcer of those commercials, I found this out. I totally forgot about this. A few people mentioned this on Facebook. His name was Al Parker, and he was an announcer, a broadcaster, and he did a lot of commercials, And in the 1960s, he hosted a program. It was a children's quiz show, and between the segments of Flash Gordon, it was called the Community Discount Theater, which I believe is from the community discount stores. Remember that? He did that sort of thing. And he was also the announcer on WLS TV. He did that. So you can hear him on AM Chicago. He was on the Oprah Winfrey Show. He did that. So what an amazing man he was. I never knew that. And it's kind of cool like that. I don't know if he did this on other commercials. I mean, other TV stations. I don't know. I really don't know. But I guess he was well known in the media industry like that. So that's when you hear the Nelson Brothers. When you watch if you watch the commercials on YouTube, you will hear his voice, and that's him. So that's what an amazing career. That's nice. Also, before I get to the locations of the stores, that is, we bought furniture at Nelson Brothers. Actually, my mother still has a bedroom set. We bought it there. She bought it at the Oak Lawn location, and it's beautiful. It's lovely. It really is. It's gorgeous. They had their merchandise of quality made. And they last a long, long time. It really does. It really does. So, and when I posted that I was going to talk about Nelson Brothers on Facebook, people were commenting. They said, "Oh, I still have my furniture. I still have this lamp. I still have this table. I still have my bed. And stuff like that." It's fun to read like that. It's amazing that people still have that. They don't want to change. Some may be dated, but that's their home. They could do what they want. How they want their homes furnished like that. Okay. So the locations of Nelson Brothers. So here we go. On the south side, it was located at 6250 South Cottage Grove Avenue. Because when I played the commercial, they mentioned the addresses on the locations of the stores. So they were showrooms like that. So yeah, the first one was 6250 South Cottage Grove Avenue. It's in the Woodlawn area. It's by the right on the corner of the L. Also in Inglewood, it was 6535 South Halsted. And also in Oak Lawn in 9605 South Cicero Avenue. And I remember that store very well. Yeah. It was big. It was nice, and we bought my mom bought her bedroom furniture there. My mom and dad did. They did that. Also, on the north side, there was at 4840 North Broadway. It was on near Lawrence Avenue. Everyone knew that because that's right next door to the Uptown Theater. People ask me, "Are you going to do the Uptown Theater?" Well, yes and no. I mean, it's closed, but I've heard reports they're going to bring it back. We haven't, but it's it's been delayed by so many times. But that's the photo I posted of Nelson Brothers, next door to the Uptown Theater on Broadway. Yeah, it's a cool picture. The next one was at 3045 North Lincoln Avenue. That's near Lincoln, Belmont, and Ashland. Like that. That's where it's like the triangular, intersection like that. And of course, the last one was at 2750 West Grand Avenue, east of California Avenue. That was the showroom, and it's also their warehouse. Yeah, it was located there, and so that's the location. Most people remembered the locations when they watched the commercials over the years, like that. And so did I. I remember they aired the commercials like on Sundays or Saturdays when they showed movies. especially on Sundays where they showed, like, for example, Charlie Chan, Sherlock Holmes, or during the afternoon when you watch, I don't know about family classics, maybe, or like in the mornings, weekday mornings, that is, when WGN had their morning movie. They showed the old movies during that time, the 70s and the 80s. They did that. Sometimes they show Abbott and Costello movies on Saturday mornings. I remember seeing the Nelson Brothers commercials like that. It went out for business. I think it was sold to another furniture company called Heilig Myers. And then that went out of business. And I believe that's what happened. So that's a shame like that. And I guess nobody wanted to. They just sold it. I guess no one in the family wanted to continue. Also, there was competition. Things have changed like that from other stores, that is. Okay. So another great Chicago memory of Nelson Brothers Furniture. Okay. All right. Next up, I'm going to talk about the Texaco Star Theater. That's a variety show that was hosted by Milton Berle. I'll give you a brief history of that. And I will explain about this Chicago connection of it. People ask me, why are you talking about an old TV show that nobody remembers or nobody cares or nobody, even young people are like, what? Fine. Anyway, the history of that, it was first a radio show. And its roots started from a radio show in the 1930s that starred Ed Wynn. He was a comedian. He was Keenan Wynn's father. If you remember him, you used to watch him on TV. He was in a lot of movies and television. And Ed Wynn, he went into television as well. He's famous for his role in like a couple of episodes of The Twilight Zone. And also did voices in Alice in Wonderland, a Disney animated movie. So anyway, Ed Wynn was the fire chief, and you notice that Texaco had the Sky Chief fire hats. And his nickname was the Perfect Fool. And he did vaudeville and all that, did a lot of slapstick, fell down and got excited and all that. And he didn't do it very well on the show because he had some personal problems. So he left the show, and then they found other people. Like next was Eddie Cantor, another comedian, radio comedian that is. He hosted a show called Texaco Town, not Texaco Star Theater, for a couple of years. Then it premiered on radio in October 5th, 1938, hosted by a few hosts like that. And then it was retitled Texaco Star Theater with Fred Allen. Now, he was a famous radio comedian, just like with Jack Benny at the time. And he was funny. I used to see him on television. He was on television much. And like on What's My Line, the game show. I used to watch that on the game show network. He was funny. And he did that for a few years. And then he stopped. And then they were... Then the next, he left about 1944, and then there were other hosts, and then Milton Berle was one of them, and he started hosting the radio show in 1948 for 1 year. And I think that ended 1949. That's when the radio show ended. Now, the TV show first aired June 8th, 1948. About 75th anniversary was about 2 years ago. 2 days ago, excuse me. I got mixed up. And so back then, there was not a lot of people own television sets, and they were expensive. And in Chicago, there were very, very few. And in Chicago, they only had 2 TV stations. One was WGN TV. They used to celebrate their 75th anniversary in April. and WBKB, which was Channel 4, which is now WBBM TV Channel 2. That's a long history about that. Channels 5, that's WNBQ. I'll get that in a second. That didn't premiere on October 8th, 1948. So their 75th, so their 75th anniversary is in about 4 months, and a little less than 4 months. And most people did not watch the show when it debuted. They did not. They missed about maybe 17, 18 episodes of that. I don't know if it's reran the earlier ones. I'm not sure, because it was Kinescope, like that. I don't know. I'm sure it was live. I don't know if it was live, the show. Maybe it was. I'm not sure about that. Anyway, so in Chicago, it started airing in the fall, like that. Also, the first show was hosted by Milton Berle, but then he didn't continue because it was rotated by other hosts during the summer from June to September. And one of the hosts was Maury Amsterdam, famous for on the Buddy Sorrell on the Dick Van Dyke Show. Then, in the fall of 1948, Milton Berle became the permanent host, because when he started the show, it just exploded. The ratings went nuts. And then also television sets, I don't know, they just went crazy like that. People went out to buy TVs. In the old days, like, people would go to a neighbor's home to watch TV, or they go to a television store. They will go to a window and watch the show itself, because it aired on Tuesday nights. I think at 8 o'clock, at 8 to 9. I don't know if that's Eastern time. Maybe it was. I'm not sure. So let's see. I think it was. I'm not sure. I'll tell you in a second. I posted the ad for that. There you go. Yeah, it was 7 o'clock. Yeah, so between 7 and 8 o'clock Chicago time, it aired on Tuesday night. So you couldn't go nobody went anywhere. Nobody went anywhere, if you, because they also stay for the commercials. Now when there's a commercial on, you either go get something to eat, or you go to the bathroom, or you could talk to somebody, or now we have DVRs and streaming. We could pause everything like that, but not back then. And also, a lot of people bought their TVs at most stores that sold them, like Marshall Fields, or there was a place called Hudson Ross. They sold TVs. And Polk Brothers, they sold television sets. And I think it was one of them, like that. I think it was the first one that sold color TVs in Chicago. They did that. And so that's amazing. Like that. And the show ran from June 1948 to, it ended in 1956. And the sponsor of Texaco dropped the sponsor of the show, and it became the Buick Burl Show, which is Buick cars. And but you also remember at the beginning of the show, the men from Texaco. So I'm going to play the song. This is the opening theme song for the Texaco Star Theater. Okay, and when I come back, I'll talk a little bit about Milton Berle. Okay, so here we go. So here is the opening of Texaco Star Theater that features the men from Texaco. Here we go.
Oh, we're the men of Texaco. We work Texaco of ours. Until tonight is powerful, we'll wow you with an hour full of hours from a shower full of stars. We're the merry Texaco men, tonight we may be showmen, tomorrow we'll be servicing your cars. I wipe the pipe, I pump the gas, I rub the hub, I scrub the glass, I touch the clutch, I mop the top, I poke the choke, I sell the pop, I here, I flop the knock, I jack the pack, I cut the clock, so join the ranks of those who know, and fill your tank with Texaco. Sky King, fill up with Sky King, and you will smile at the pile of 2 miles you will add. Fire King, fill up with Fire King, you'll find that Texaco's the finest friend your car has ever had. And now, ladies and gentlemen, introducing America's #1 television star, your June bride, Mildred Burrows.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the theme song for Texaco Star Theater, that star of Milton Berle. I watched a few episodes of YouTube this past week. Some of it's corny, some of it's very fun to watch. You know how television was back then. And then when the men from Texaco sing the famous theme song and they introduce Milton Berle, he will come on stage dressed as a woman, a Cinderella or a ballerina or any. He was the ugliest woman I ever seen. Like that, but I liked him. I really did, you know. And one famous thing about the TV show is when he requests for makeup. You know, when you have a makeup artist or someone who does makeup, you get out a powder puff and you just, because you have a shiny nose, you just powdered it. But they bring out this big powder puff and went boom right into his face. It's hilarious. I saw that. It's funny. And so that was the theme song. Yeah, so that was the theme song. As for Texaco's gas stations, they're not around anymore in Chicago. They're elsewhere, or I think they're bought by Chevron, I think. But they were all over the place. You know, I remember one gas station was in South Shore, my old neighborhood. I think it was like in 75th and Coles, like about near Rainbow Beach when you're going on your way to there. I think that was a Texaco station. Because I remember neighbor's kid had the Sky Chief hat, you know, when it's like a, how would you say it? Like a microphone, like that. They used to scare me when I was a kid. Oh my God. That was frightening. Anyway, as for Milton Berle, he continued to act. Performed. You know, he had another variety show in the 60s that didn't do very well, but he continued acting sitcoms. He guest starred on Lucille Ball shows, everywhere. He was a busy man all the way until the end. I remember the last time he acted, he was on an episode of Beverly Hills 90210, and he was there. He was amazing. He really was. And he passed away on March 27, 2002. He was 93 years old. Yeah, so he lived a long life like that. And let's see what else. So I'm trying to think what else I could think of. As for Texaco Star Theater, that was the birth of the variety show of television. I think there were a couple more earlier than that, but that it wasn't well known. You know, they were like short 15 minutes of it by people that are not famous, but this one reached its zenith and just went like that. And then there were other successful variety shows, like for example, Ed Sullivan. It premiered, I think, the same year. And let's see what else. Red Skelton, Dean Martin. A lot of them. Rowan and Martin's Laughing, the Smothers Brothers, and of course the last one was Carol Burnett. She wouldn't have a variety show because of Texaco Star Theater, which was the last successful variety show of all time. It's one of my favorites. I love it. Rowan and Martin's Laughing is my favorite because I have a Facebook group and I run that. I'm still adding people. I have the DVD too. Yeah, so that's the Chicago connection. So, like I said before, a lot of people did not see the first 17, 18 episodes of it. They had to watch that, and then they got they got familiar with Milton Berle and the show, and they loved it. And that was, I think, one of the most popular shows of all time. And it was after I Love Lucy, but I Love Lucy premiered in 1951, so it was a popular sitcom. And you have the variety show, and there were others like that. Well, she aired on Mondays, and he aired on Tuesdays, so that's good. Okay. So that's it for this program. I'll do a recap of what I said. I talked about the Nelson Brothers furniture stores in Chicago, also the 75th anniversary of the Texaco Star Theater variety show that starred Milton Berle. This program will be published soon, and you can access it wherever podcasts are available: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music. Also, it'll be on my YouTube channel, Chicagoland Stories. Also on my social media accounts, Facebook and Twitter. Also on my blog, vanchicagoland.blog. I will do another podcast episode probably Tuesday, I believe. Yeah, probably do that. And so everything's doing well. That's great. Yeah, just be patient; it'll be up. So this is Pete Costanis, your host for Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Thank you for joining me. I had a wonderful time entertaining you. So here's bye-bye for me, and here is Ray Rayner with a little traveling music saying bye, bye, bye. Take care, everyone. So long.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.